By overwhelmingly popular request, today's episode is on the 9x12 postcard and how to make $5,000 every month just from a postcard. You can do it. Anyone can do it, from a teenager to a 80-plus-year-old. Maybe you want to go on vacation, you want to take that trip or whatever. Could go wherever you want, $5,000 air flight. Well, I can't tell you what you're going to do with $5,000. That's up to you. But I could just tell you how to do it. It's a perfect system for a lot of people. It's great for people who are trying to replace their job. Maybe they hate their job and they're trying to get out of it and get some kind of income that will replace it. It's great for stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads who maybe want to contribute financially. I know how it is, like you're stay-at-home and your spouse is making the money, but you're doing a lot, but you want to feel like you're contributing money to the household or financially. This is a absolutely fabulous system for that. Retirees. It's also great for successful marketers and business people who want to add something to their arsenal. It is proven, okay, you're going to make $5,000 profit, more or less. I mean, you can make more than that, you can make less than that, but $5,000 is in profit is a pretty achievable thing. I'm going to break it down into straightforward how it works without getting too complex. Or maybe you don't have any money right now to invest and you just want to get going and make $5,000. I've been there and helped thousands of people over the last decade do this. So you can too. So this episode is going to be an absolute freaking banger for anyone. Even if you've been through the 9x12 system before, this is going to be an incredible, like, just refresher. The 9x12 system at its core is just a big postcard. It looks like this. I'm going to use my fellow marketer Tim Black's postcard because he doesn't mind when I show it. This is a really simplified version. This is giant postcard, massive postcard. It's 9x12 inches, and you fill it with other businesses on it. Okay, other local businesses. So you're taking a big postcard. It can look like this too, and you're just putting other local businesses on it. You're going to do the work. You're going to do the hard work of patching businesses together. Okay? And they're in turn are paying you for advertising space on that card. That is all it is. It's a platform to advertise. It's a great thing for any community to have, where you have a giant postcard with nothing but local businesses on it. And it's going to residents in that area. So 10,000, we're going to focus on 10,000 residents, which is a nice, healthy sample of people. So just imagine you're a business owner and you're able to advertise on a big, giant piece with nothing but other local businesses that don't compete, and getting it into the hands of 10,000 local people. Like, it's an unbelievably fantastic way to advertise. There's no spam filter. There's no clutter. Like, the mailbox is a great place to be. And being able to get it directly in the hands, it's a postcard. So there's no envelopes to open. There's nothing to thumb through. It's not a catalog format where there's 1,000 pages. You're not squashed in there with other competitors. And it's well received because it's nothing but local businesses. There's not a bunch of corporate stuff. It's all local stuff. So people get in the mail and they love it. It's like, wow, this is great. This has a dozen or so, however many you want to fit on the card, of local businesses, all with offers, deals, coupons, useful things from local businesses. It's not junk mail. I like to print them on a shiny 14-point stock. It's nice and glossy. It's really thick, feels valuable. It's super well received by the people getting it and by business owners who have a chance to affordably advertise to 10,000 people. You can also do it at 5,000 people. We don't want to complicate it. At 10,000 is a great sample. You're going to do the work of putting people together, just getting other businesses on it. If you present it right, and if you do the things I'm going to show you, it's going to be really easy. It's going to make sense. It shouldn't be any more difficult than just showing a business owner, this is what you're putting together, and this is how much it costs, and it should go fairly smoothly. If you follow all these steps, you're going to fill this card in a really short amount of time. I generally say 2 weeks. You could do it in a week, but 2 weeks is a pretty healthy amount. It may even take you 3 weeks. It depends how much effort you want to put into it, but really there are plenty of advertisers around you, and that's a big point. There are plenty. I promise you, no matter how small of an area you're in, There are plenty of advertisers who will willingly spend money with you to get on this card because it's going to get into locals' hands at such an affordable cost that you have to be stupid to say no. Will some people say no? Yes, and we'll talk about that. But people with brains will say yes to this. And you're going to profit. So you're not going to have to spend any money on this. And that's a big key point. You don't have to put any money up front on this. Zero. You don't put a dime of your money up front at all. This is entirely paid for by all the advertisers. And you're going to break even really fast, which covers the cost of the printing, the postage. Don't worry about any of that. You're going to break even very fast, and all the rest is profit. So in general, about half the card will be covering your costs, and the other half is profit. You're going to be able to make $5,000 profit, more or less, on this card. It's going to happen if you just keep it as simple and uncomplex. It will happen. I can't guarantee you unless you do the effort, but this has been proven. It's been done by so many other people. I've done it so many times. I've taught so many hundreds, thousands of people over the last decade to do this. It works. Really great thing is you can double it too. So if you want to make $5,000, if you want to make $10,000 profit, if you want to make $20,000 in profit a month, you could do it. Absolutely. The logistics of things get harder. It sounds crazy, but things like just collecting payments and managing like who to bill and who to pick up a check from becomes a challenge when you have a lot of these going out. You have to hire people just to collect payments. So those are good things to worry about. We're not going to worry about those things. We're going to focus on one card so you can get one card rolling. A key concept to know, because it's important for you to be sold on this yourself as well. Because if you're sold on it, then when you present it to other business owners, you come across very confident and excited, and that translates to them being confident and excited. So a really key thing to know about this is that this is really the magic of this whole thing, is that if you were to send a card like this in the mail yourself, so if you were a business owner and you wanted to send this card, this size card, and I might tell you it's a massive card, it's a giant card, it gets so much attention. It's like a mini billboard. It's like a little billboard arriving in someone's mailbox. If you were to send something like this yourself in the mail, go get it designed, printed, mailed, you are going to spend, if you called around, you're going to spend around $1 each in printing and postage and design. It's going to be around $1 each. And if you think of just a stamp costs 66 cents right now, it's going up. Just that alone is almost $1. Then you had printing and you had design, you're in this for $1. Even small postcards, a lot of places will charge $1 just to mail. So you're looking at $1 each. So if you were to mail 10,000 of these as a business owner, 10,000 of these, that's some serious advertising, like covering 10,000 people, getting this into the hands of 10,000 local people. You are looking at about $10,000. You're probably in the range of like $7,500 to $10,000. If you were to just call a bunch of printing places, mailing places around, you're in this range. This kind of mailing, while it's ridiculously powerful, is not for everyone because it's just unaffordable. Like how many small local businesses can afford to spend $10,000, can afford to spend $5,000, $8,000, $10,000 on a mailer? Not many can. Big advertising, and lots do. There's a lot of businesses that spend more than that. But those are businesses that have their marketing down. They know what they're doing. They have big budgets. They're probably been in business a long time. But what about all these other little tiny businesses, like the little retailers, little restaurants, home remodel, just the smaller guys that don't have these kind of large budgets and resources to do that kind of advertising? Like your average, your clothes retailer, a hair salon, a pizzeria, they can't, how many of them can spend $10,000 on a mailer? Very, very few. So they kind of get left out. They don't have an option to get that kind of horsepower in their advertising. Think of it like a startup lawn care place or something. Then they're never going to be able to afford $10,000 on a mailer. They'll never be able to do it. So they never get to experience the power of something like this. But you're going to be making it affordable. You're going to suddenly be able to give them the opportunity to do that, because you're going to be able to break this card up into multiple spaces of all local businesses, and everyone pays for each other. Everyone shares the cost. You're going to be doing the work of patching people together and allowing all these businesses that should never have been able to afford $10,000 in advertising and suddenly be able to get that for a fraction of the cost. You're going to be able to charge only $500, $550 per space. And I can tell you, every single small local business, they can come up with $500. Like if you can't come up with $500 as a local business owner, then you are probably going to be out of business very soon. That is an amount that virtually every local business can come up with. So it's within the affordability of everyone. And suddenly you have businesses that have almost zero advertising budgets, very little advertising budgets, not a lot of options, suddenly able to advertise, get $10,000 worth of advertising for $500. That's how crazy powerful. I don't know any other way to explain this. To be able to get $10,000 of legitimate advertising, legitimately $10,000 worth of advertising for $500, $550 is just, it's mind-blowing. I've been doing this for 13 years. I've been doing this since 2011, and it still blows my mind. I've lived and breathed this system for 13 years, and I'm still completely mind-blown over the whole thing. You're getting $10,000 worth of advertising for $500 so. So if you can translate that, some people who have not had the best success putting these cards together sometimes can't relay that. So business owners don't always understand what exactly you're trying to sell them or why it's such a good bargain. And if you can relay that, it becomes such an easier thing for a business owner to buy and to be excited about. But that's the truth. You're getting $10,000. Go call every printer you can find around wherever and ask them how much you want to send 10,000 9x12 postcards out. How much is it going to cost? And you're going to get in this range of $7,500 or so to $10,000. But I'm going to show you how to get this for only about $4,000, $4,500, somewhere in that range, $4,000, $4,500, by using the EDDM system, which is really cheap postage, using a wholesale printing. I'm just going to recommend myself. You can go anywhere that's cheap, but I charge about $2,000 for 10,000 9x12s printed, delivered to you no matter what state you're in, at least in the continental U.S. And so by getting the cheapest printing, the highest quality printing, and getting the cheapest postage possible, you're able to get this for so much cheaper than it would be normally. And then by combining a bunch of people together, you're able to get it so cheap for them that you can make thousands of dollars in profit in the process. So about half the card is going to cover your costs. You're going to get this money up front. And then the other half is 100% profit. Imagine you're just going and talking to business owners. You're getting paid $500, $550. There's people who spend $1,000. There's lots of 9x12ers. I call them 9x12ers. Marketers that are doing this that charge upwards of $1,000 per space. You can really charge whatever you want because, again, the value is roughly $10,000. Now, there's two things you could think of that you could say. You could say, well, Jake, is it really worth $10,000 because like you're sharing it with all these other businesses? And I understand that. You're not getting the entire space to use the whole card. You're not getting to use the entire card yourself. So you could say, okay, maybe this isn't totally worth $10,000, but it's worth many, 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 many thousands of dollars because it's still getting seen. It's a postcard. There's no envelopes. You're still on it. You're getting seen by approximately 10,000. You're actually getting it seen by a lot more than 10,000 people because it's 10,000 addresses. And every address has an average of 2.5 people that live on it because you have a lot of people with spouses. You have a lot of people with other extended family. You have people with kids. And many people will see this. There's people who will share it. So lots more than one person per household will see this. It gets a very high exposure, more than 10,000 people. But it's 10,000 addresses. But you could also say that having a well put together card with local businesses on it can actually increase the value. It may actually be more valuable to advertise on a card with other businesses on it than yourself, because you're now leveraging what might attract other people. Other people may not be, let's take a mattress, for example, a mattress store, right? They may want to advertise on this card. If they were to do a mailer themselves, which mattress places do, they spend a lot of money on advertising. They're a great candidate to go reach out to. I can almost guarantee you a mattress store will buy space on your card. If they do their own mailer, the people who aren't so interested in a mattress at the moment may toss it out. They may say, and they have to keep mailing. This is like real estate. This is similar to real estate and a lot of businesses. They may not be interested at the moment, so they toss it out. But if you're on this piece with other local businesses that they may be interested in, so maybe they like the pizzeria, maybe they like the retail boutique, maybe they like the hair salon. Now they're seeing you with those people. They're seeing you, and it's kind of carrying over. It's adding visibility that you didn't have before, because maybe they save the thing. It's sitting in a drawer. It's sitting on a coffee table. It's posted up on their fridge. People will save these, and they constantly see you. They see the mattress place a bazillion times because it's riding along with these other businesses. So you could also argue that it's actually even more powerful. And that's a great way. The way I just presented that is a great way to present it to other business owners, because it's an attractive benefit. Hey, you could do your own mailer, but you could also do this, which is a fraction of the price. And just think, you're going to be on someone's refrigerator, tacked up on their refrigerator, and they're going to walk by a billion times because they see the other food. They see the pizza, the liquor store, the hair salon, the toy store, all these other businesses that are like highly broad demographic, attractive to everyone. And meanwhile, they're seeing you a bazillion times. So this is great if you're a realtor, insurance agency, lawyer, businesses that are harder to get people. Like, people make these decisions a lot less frequently than going out to eat. They're going to see you a billion times. And if you mail regularly on this, that business is going to be seen so many times, just over and over and over, for a fraction of the cost, for like $500. What kind of advertising can you spend $550 on, which really isn't much money at all, and get 10,000 local residents holding it, riding along with all these other local businesses? They're seeing you. It's a super high quality piece, and seeing you over and over and over and over and over and over, like over and over, as people save these cards. They're seeing you just endless times over and over. So it has this staying power that's just unfathomable. So you think of like plumbers, electricians, chiropractors, dentists, all these people will just benefit so hard from just having other local businesses on it and just being seen so many multiple times over and over. It's incredible. For $500 for like nothing. It's like a penny. Let's say it's like a penny, because it's like nothing though. Like, and for as far as advertising, what else are you going to spend $500? You're going to spend it on Facebook ads, which you'll burn through in a matter of hours. I mean, like $500 on Facebook ads, we won't do anything. Google AdWords or stuff. What are you going to spend $500 on compared to something like this? And you can still do all that other stuff. Like 9x12 postcards are just an enhancement to something else you're doing. You could send your own mailers out and do 9x12. Oh, is that Mary Grace? Mary Grace.
What?
Oh, I'm recording, but it's fine. I'm just going to be talking. It's going to sound like I'm talking to myself. I got interrupted there for a second by MGK. Let's talk about the pricing structure. $500. This is a sample card, my favorite template currently. By the way, these are Canva templates. If you do pick up my course, which is highresponsemarketing.com/9x12, it's in the description below. I share this template. You can fit as many ads as you want on this. You can fit, like Tim's card, he doesn't have a ton of ads. I think he sells fewer ads for higher amounts. Some people like Scott Meisner, who I got to have on as a podcast, he does an 11x14, so he does an even giant, like a even larger card, and he has many of these that go out with lots of ads on them. You can do, this is another format that I really liked. Joshua McElmurray, one of my marketing students, put this card out. This is a nice thing, but you can fit anywhere from like a dozen to 18 ads. 18 is like a tic-tac-toe shape, so it's like 9 on each side. It's just like a tic-tac-toe. You can squeeze all different size ads. It's really flexible. It's on you. You have to decide how many ads you want to put on this and then just figure out how much you want to charge each one. It's going to cost around $4,000, $4,500 in printing and postage and design. So anything that you charge, so if you charge $550 per ad and you have 16 ads, you're making, I think it's like $4,800 profit. You can bump that up to $600. You can squeeze an extra ad in there. However much you want to make. It's a very, very flexible system. I would just give yourself enough time to sell the ads. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But you don't want to have too many ad spaces on there and you're just starting out and you can't sell them all. Then you end up with a bunch of space that you can't fill, and now you're sending the card out and maybe you didn't make as much as you should have, or you just have a bunch of empty space which could have been used elsewhere. So it's kind of this balance. It's just this balance of how much you really want to charge. It's up to you. That's the beauty of business, is what you charge is totally up to you. But if you're in this $500 to $550 range, that's a good balance because every business can afford it. So yes, you probably should be charging more. You know, you could charge $800 to $1,000 and be totally worth it for businesses, but they may not have that amount on them, like just able to spend right away. Is the more you start getting into $800 plus, the harder it is to get people to just be like, yes, I'm on this, let's go. Here you go, here's $500, let me run this card or whatever. It's just much easier when you're starting out, in my opinion, to charge $500. You're some kind of salesperson. I've never heard of this. It's a little bit sketchy. You're by you thinking you're making this like big credible thing and making it look really big when it's not. You're just actually pushing sales away. It is way better, million times better. Please follow this. Your best course of action is to just introduce yourself to other businesses. Walk in, I would just walk in, introduce yourself as a business owner yourself, local business owner, and tell them I'm sending out this, I want to introduce myself. I am sending out a big postcard in the mail to 10,000 people. I'm advertising on it, and I'm wondering if other businesses might want to just share the cost. And we all get on it, and we don't have any competitors. So one per category. You'd be the only HVAC guy. You'd be the only dentist. I thought of you. That's it. You're introducing yourself. You're explaining that you're just trying to get other businesses on to share the cost. And instead of spending $8,800, it's now only going to be $500. So if you present it like that, you are going to sell so many spaces so fast. Go in and make it a habit of talking to 5 business owners a day. You will have this card sold. You will probably have this card sold in a week, but give yourself 2 weeks and you will have it sold. That means you're going to have $5,000 in profit in your pocket. You are going to have $5,000, give or take, in profit in 2 weeks from when you start talking to business owners. If you just talk to 5 business owners a day, go introduce yourself. I'm so-and-so, I own whatever business, or maybe you just say I'm just starting up a local business. I'm going to do this postcard. I'd like to promote other local businesses on it, and we all share the cost. It's just local businesses. Get a sample from me. I sell these samples. hit me up. My contact information is in the description below. Hit me up anytime. Get some samples, and we charge $25 for samples. We just put a bunch in a flat rate envelope, and you'll have some to walk around. You can even customize your own if you want. I'll print short runs for you, whatever. Just contact me. Put this thing in a business owner's hands. Explain what you're doing. Don't get fancy. Don't try to make yourself look into. You're just going to come off as a sales rep. You're just another local business owner looking to share the cost. Instead of spending $8,800, instead of spending $10,000, it's going to be $500. That's it. If you present it like that, you're going to sell spaces like crazy, and you're going to have good business. You're going to make a lot of new connections. You're going to make a ton of connections, other business owners, and some of them aren't going to do it, but if you ask, they'll point you to ones that will. They're, for whatever reason, they don't want to do it. Ask them if they know anyone that might want to. And you're going to find that they like you and may say their friend. You're going to sell spaces that way. And even if they buy, ask them, do you have any other business owner friends that might want to get on this card? I'd like to bring up the power of exclusivity. These cards, while you don't have to, are really powerful when they only have one business per industry. So one pizzeria, one dentist, because one, it's good for the consumer getting it. They don't have to see a million, like they see one. But two, you can leverage that. You can say, I'm putting one per category. So one HVAC, one lawyer, I thought of you. I went to you first. You can use that if they're iffy, and you can say, look, I totally understand if you don't want to, but I got to put a plumber on here. So either if you want it, we'll lock down a space. If not, I've got to go find another plumber. But just be warned. You can use that tone. Be warned that don't be mad when this comes out and it goes to 10,000 people and the only plumber on there is your competitor. Like, it'd be probably a pretty good thing for you to be on this. Use that kind of tonality, because it makes sense to the business owner. Oh, crap, this is going to 10,000 people. I don't want someone else being on there. This will work really good for realtors, too, because they fight for this kind of space. So if you're sending these to 10,000, like, local people, and it's in their territory, like, they do not want, they're not going to pass up $500. Now, some realtors are broke. They're broke, realtors can be the type of people that don't have $500, because some of them are just glorified, like, just hobbyist people, but actual realtors who are full-time realtors are not going to pass up $500, especially if they have a team. If it's actually broker and they put their whole team on there for $500, like, they are not going to pass it up. And see some, especially if they start balking at it and you say, I just want to let you know, we're putting a realtor on here. If you don't want someone else, another realtor being on 10,000 of these, you should probably lock down a space. You're going to sell the space. Realtors, insurance, chiropractor, dentist, they're all great to put on here. I would also suggest I call them anchor ads. I talk about this so much in my courses. So if this really interests you and you want to put some money into a course, go check out my mastery course, because I go through every little thing. I'm trying to keep it simple for this podcast, but anchor ads are kind of good. And that's where you really, really put extra effort in getting like a popular restaurant, some food related, anything that's really, really popular, especially food, pizza, and try to get them on your card. There's a lot of different ways you can do that, but just put the extra effort to get them on your card, because that adds a lot of credibility when you're selling other ads. You can say, hey, Luigi's Pizza's on here or whatever. It adds credibility. The more your card fills up, the more credibility you start automatically gaining, because they see other businesses doing it. But also it gives it a lot of value to the customer, to the recipient. So when the recipients get this, they're really happy and they like getting the card, and they share it with their friends, and you can tie this into social. You can make social posts, and you can get people sharing it on Facebook, and you're sharing it on Facebook, and other businesses want to get on it because they heard about it on Facebook. You can also have advertise on here. You're going to get people, once the card's out, that are going to see it. Other business owners, how do I get on this? They're going to call you and be like, I want on this. Or how did I not know about this? I can't believe this. Once the card goes out, you gain just a lot of credibility. So a lot of marketers and business people will do this too, just to cement some credibility in the area. I'm the person that puts this out. It's a fast way to get a lot of clients. If you're a marketer, you can really quickly get a dozen or more paying clients, and you can sell them all whatever other services you have. So now you have a lot of people. You have a dozen people in your stable that have paid you, that you're doing marketing for, and you're probably getting them good results. So I would like to talk about results. You don't have a crystal ball, so you can't promise people any kind of results. You don't know. Maybe their business sucks. You can't say, hey, you're going to get 1% response or something, because you don't know. Maybe they didn't put a great offer. Maybe their business sucks. Maybe it was a bad time. Whatever. All you can do is give them exposure. That's all this is. It's a platform. The Postcard is a platform where people can advertise to 10,000 or however many you're sending. I think Scott does like 20,000. He does 20,000, I believe, of these. You're giving them a platform where they can get their business in front of 10, 20,000 people, and that's it. Okay, but the results is not you can't determine that. So don't go telling people they're going to get 5,000 people through the door or some crazy nonsense, because then they're going to be upset when you told them one thing. Don't even touch that subject. You don't want that. Does people sell billboards and advertising on it? Did they ever guarantee response? They don't. They just collect the checks because they just have a platform. The radio ad, okay, the people don't. They can play the radio ad. They can play the commercial. They cannot tell you you're going to get X amount of response. And they will always be filling those spaces, and people will always be writing those checks because they want that platform. They want space on that platform. So it's actually a smart thing to target and talk to businesses that maybe spend a lot of money on branded advertising, like insurance agents and lawyers and workers' comp and car dealers, because they may want space on your card. They may be easy spots to fill. They don't mind spending money over and over because it's securing that they'll be the only one in that industry. They don't want to see the other car dealer. You think a car dealer, you start putting out these cards every month. You think a car dealer wants his competitor being on that one every month? Every month these things go out, it's going to get more and more like exclusives. I want to be that one on that card. How do I get on that card? And they will pay money to make sure that they're the only ones on that card. It's actually really cheap advertising, and the exclusivity is very high. We should talk about competition. Because you're going to maybe wondering, well, Jake, I see these other places like Valpak and Money Mailer, and maybe a lot of it's magazine type stuff. You usually either see a magazine type format, like a catalog magazine that comes in the mail, or you'll see a envelope like Valpak. It comes in an envelope and there's a million ads. These are not competing with that. These pieces do not compete with that. It's totally different. You may have businesses that also say, well, I do Valpak, I do Money Mailer, I do the Clipper magazine. And they may have good results with those. They may have okay results, but this is different. In those other competitors, they're probably not exclusive, or they charge you through the roof to be exclusive. So you're squashed in there with all sorts of other competitors. If you're running a 20% off sale, your competitor may be running a 30% off sale, or you're running a 10%, and right next to you is your direct competitor running a 20% sale. And you're like, oh crap, I just spent all this money. It's thousands of dollars. These things cost thousands of dollars, and commit long-term contracts and commitments. And now you're squashed in there with another competitor who's got a better deal than you. So that's an advantage that the Postcard has over those. But also it's getting 100% exposure. So when the Postcard doesn't have any envelope, it doesn't have any catalogs, you're not on page 76 where they have to thumb through all these pages to actually see you, or open an envelope. The moment you start doing stuff like that, you lose the exposure. So if you send 10,000 envelope mailers or 10,000 catalog mailers, how many of those people will actually see your ads squashed in the middle? How many of them? Because probably less than half open them. So you've already thrown half of them out the window. Those numbers, half of them are garbage. And then only so many will check through the whole thing and notice you. It's actually a really small percentage. You may have 1,000 people out of 10,000 that actually saw you. It's probably even less. Plus you're in there with competitors. And it's a different crowd. So the people who open Money Mailer, Valpak, they're like the coupon clipping crowd, and they can sometimes be the people that you don't necessarily want. I use that. I explain that to other businesses when I'm talking to them about advertising on 9x12 postcard or a postcard in general. As they may say, like, I do the Val Pack, I do the money mailer and stuff, and they're like, I just don't like that whole coupon thing and the people that, well, that's because the people who are specifically looking in those and opening those are that crowd. So by advertising on a postcard that doesn't have competitors, that's kind of a more upscale look to it, and it's reduced ads, there's not so many ads, you're reaching people whether they're coupon clipper people or not. You're reaching everyone. So you are reaching all the people. They're all seeing it. When 10,000 of these get mailed, 10,000 people are seeing it, whether they like it or not. You get this in the mail. You have to see it. You can't not see this. You have to touch it. You have to look at it, touch it, transport it wherever. Like, you have to do a lot of stuff with this. You can't just grab the envelope and say, oh, it's blue envelope, throw it out. Money mail, oh, tabbed catalog, throw it out. They have to see it. And you will get business just from people who weren't even would have never opened the envelope. They would have never opened the catalog. But this is something they were forced to see, and it was something that they wanted. So very, very high advantage over other competitors. Like, it really isn't a competing thing. It's a totally different thing. And when you look at price, so it might be, let's say a Val Pack, or I don't know what they charge, but maybe they're cheaper per piece. They might advertise for 1 cent per delivery. You're spending $1,000, but you're getting 100,000 mailers. It's only a 1 penny each. Meanwhile, you're at 5 cents or 10 cents each. If you start explaining the numbers, where if half of these people, it's probably far less than half or more than half, throw this out, well, it's not really 2 cents, is it? It's really 4 cents. And if only a certain fraction of those people actually get to your ad, it's actually a much higher. It's actually more expensive to advertise in these because so fewer people are looking. Would you rather, put bluntly, have 10,000 postcards sent or 10,000 envelopes sent? The postcards would be seen by 10,000 people. The envelope would require people to open it. It's a fraction of the people would see it. Picking the areas, you may wonder, Jake, how do I pick these areas? How do I choose who I'm going to send these to? Again, in my course, if you pick on my course, I go through all of that step by step. But to not complicate things, just think of who. Go on eddm.usps.com. That's the Every Door Direct Mail routing map tool. It's very user-friendly when the site isn't glitching, but it's pretty user-friendly. And start looking around at the neighborhoods. You can click and just pick neighborhoods on a map, and it generates how many people. Just think of the areas that local businesses would want to target. Just do the thinking for them. Think, okay, I'm going to get a dozen or more businesses. What are the areas? Maybe I'm going to get a lot of home service. So maybe I should pick kind of the more homeowner routes, more upscale routes, because they're going to want to reach these. You've got to think, you're going to be presenting this to other businesses, and you want to make this as attractive as possible. You want to pick areas that are attractive. Like, you're a business owner and you want to reach a certain areas yourself. And if someone comes along and says, hey, I thought of you, I'm mailing these, I'm another business owner, I'm advertising on this, and I'm hoping to get other local businesses and we can all promote ourselves, and it's going to this neighborhood, this neighborhood, this neighborhood, this part of town. Even print these out, even print the things out and show them where it's going. It's going to be super attractive. You imagine you're a business owner and a guy or girl comes up to you and is like, hey, I own another business. I want to introduce myself. I'm sending out this big postcard. We're going to put other local businesses on it. Just trying to promote small local business, and we're going to this area, this area, this area. It's 10,000 people, and they're all going to get this. And then they're super sold. They see the postcard. They see where it's going. They're like, holy crap, this thing sounds amazing. What the heck? This is incredible. Well, how much is this going to cost? And they're probably thinking it's going to cost thousands of dollars. You're talking this massive postcard is going to 10,000 people. It's going to the neighborhoods that they want to reach. It's going to good neighborhoods. Everyone's going to see this. It feels great. It looks great. They like you. They're doing business with another business owner, not just a sales rep, another business owner, another local business owner. And they're thinking this thing is going to cost thousands. The thing that's on their mind is like, yeah, okay, I'm like super excited about this, but this thing's going to cost a fortune. It's going to cost thousands. It's going to cost me $5,000. I don't have $5,000. And then you tell them it's going to be, we're sharing the cost. You can say, I've found out how to get the cheapest printing, the cheapest postage, and we're just splitting up the cost. If we can get the whole card filled, it's $500, $500. That's it. We're just sharing the cost. If you word it like that, if you use the tonality like that, it's just $500. We're all going to share the cost, including you. It is just like it's like a bomb going off. It's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? This may sound so good that it's hard to believe it's actually true. And you'll find when you talk to business owners about that, they stop everything. They're like, at once they were a little hesitant, and now they're like all attention is on you. Like, this is just amazing. This is so smart. This is brilliant. How do I get on this? How do I get other people? Like, is this for real? Are you a real person? If you're another business owner, are you a real person? If you're another AI generated salesperson, if you're like a business owner that's doing this as another way to advertise on your business and get into some, you're going to make connections. You're going to be like, yeah, I'm a realtor. I'm a local realtor here. Maybe they recognize you from the thing. You're just trying to put this thing together with other local businesses. It's like the best thing in the world. It's like the best thing for a business, because little local businesses are not supposed to get this kind of advertising. Your vast majority of local businesses are never supposed to mail 10,000 of these. They're never supposed to have the advertising budget of $10,000. Like, even if they did, it wouldn't make sense. Like, you can't spend in your retail boutique, you spend $10,000 on, or your hair salon, you spend $10,000 on mailers. You can get a ton of response, but you'll never recoup like $10,000. It'd be really hard to recoup that because the ticket price is so low, or your little cafe or something. But now you're able. It's suddenly putting. I had 13 years ago, when I started putting this out, I started doing it for myself. But I remember so vividly, I'm sitting on the floor of our house, and I'm like, I want to come up with a system that allows even businesses with just hardly any advertising budget. And I want to give them a lot of advertising. I just knew, and I've never lost that passion. Like, I knew that I could figure out a way, because I had figured it out for myself by putting this together for myself, like getting free advertising. I knew that I could figure out ways to get everyday local, in the trenches, just starting out, just making it, just surviving, or businesses that have been around but don't have big advertising budgets, a way to really get good advertising, really solid, working, tons of advertising for really cheap, like really affordable. And I'd still make money in the process. And me making money was actually even though I needed it at the time, it was actually an afterthought, because I was like, I just know if I can put something like this together. And I started adding all sorts of stuff onto it too, and like adding upsells, and like maybe for $200 more, I could add all this into directory and additional mail, all sorts of stuff, which is all explained really in my course too. So if you really want to get into that stuff, go pick up the course. It's well worth it. But I just knew that I had to put something together for the local everyday business owner, which also makes sense for businesses with lots of advertising budget, because they can actually buy a whole space. You can have a car dealer just buy the whole space. In fact, one of my first cards, I saw a person advertising. This is a good story. I saw this, it's a beauty school, okay? It's a beauty school. Do you remember, MG, do you remember John Paulo's Beauty School Institute or something? Do you remember that? Yeah. You remember that? Well, I was on like my first or second card or something. It was like one of my first cards. But I had seen this beauty school, okay? This is like you could go to school to be a beautician or whatever, cosmetology. And it had popped up, and they were doing just insane amounts of advertising. They had the cars all wrapped, and they had billboards. And I was like, this is definitely an advertiser. Like, this is a place that's going to advertise. So I called them, and I got some guy on the phone, and he's like, we don't advertise, and we don't, then hangs up on me. I'm like, what? And I think he said that, or not interested or something. And I'm like, just like thinking, I'm like, this can't, like, they're advertising everywhere. I see them everywhere. I'm like, they're gonna want this. So I found the email of the owner, John Paulo, and it was an AOL address. It was at AOL.com. And there's a really funny story I got to tell you after that's hilarious, MG. I'll tell you it after I turn the camera off because I think it was so funny about that. But so I email him and I'm like, John, I'm whatever. And I'm putting this thing out and he literally emails me right back and he's like, I want the whole side. How much for the whole side of the card? I'm in San Diego right now. I'm on the beach or something. He's like, I want the whole side. Give me the whole side. And I was like, yes. And I sold it to him for, I don't know, like $3,000 or something. I can't even remember. But it basically, I figured out how much every ad would cost if you were buying the entire backspace and gave a slight discount or something. And that sold, I was like, oh, crap. This makes sense. Now you have half the card sold. Now you only have to sell half the ads. And every ad is, essentially profit. Like it almost covered the whole cost of the card. So you can also double up on ads, triple up on ads. You can break ads into very small sections. You can mix of some. You can see on here, I use a thing called a column that's in my course, but column ads. All different sizes. There's so much flexibility. It's your business. You can do whatever you want. But you take on this system. You will absolutely, if you follow it and you follow everything I just said, go through it again, you're at the gym, you're driving, go through this podcast again. If you're not buying the course, just go through this podcast multiple times. Get it? Take notes. Just follow it. I think I've covered everything. As far as the printing and stuff, just hit me up, Jake at printingforsupercheap.com or highresponsemarketing.com. My information's below. Don't worry about that part. That is just a logistical part that you don't have to worry about. Just follow all these steps. Introduce yourself. Talk with other business owners. You're going to sell this thing out in no time. It's great for anyone to do. I can't stress how amazing this whole system is. I still have to pinch myself all the time that this is even still a thing. Last thing I want to, because it's so great, last thing I want to mention is that it's an asset. It's like a building, like if you own real estate next to a highway, you could build a billboard and have the billboard on there. If you own a media station and could run TV commercials, you own it. You are actually building a platform with no money down. You start this from zero. You're building a platform, and that platform becomes more and more valuable. The more you put these out, the more valuable that platform is because it gets known, it gets well received, it gets a lot of exposure. You'll have lots of advertisers, and you will now have an asset. You can technically sell it. There's a lot of people who have sold their 9x12 businesses over the year because you can just sell this asset and the advertisers to someone who wants to take it on. So you can do this to get out. You can also double up. You can run 2 cards a month. That's twice the profit. You can run 3 cards a month. You can go to new areas. You can rotate around. You can hire salespeople. You will actually start, if you keep doing cards, they're going to get so popular that you'll have more clients and you know what to do with it. So after a few cards, you'll only be filling 1 or 2 spaces. You'll only be filling like a handful of spaces because you will already have people re-upping and ready to go on the next one. So the hard part is really only in that first 1 or 2 cards. If you put out a card right after your first card, you still have to kind of start from scratch because the first people haven't even had their first card go out yet. So it's generally 1 or 2 cards until you start getting repeat advertisers. 50 to 80% will repeat. And especially if you don't promise results and you're just promising that you'll get it out, you're going to have a large majority of them re-upping. So now you're only filling half the spaces, a handful of spaces. You'll actually get so many people that you can start doing 11x14s and stuff like that, like Scott does, where it can fill bigger things, or you have so many people you need to just do a second card. You have to do another card. Or you have people saying, I'll go on any card you can do. I want to go in this area, that area, and you start doing another card to another area. You can do fewer amounts of cards. You can do 5,000, 10,000, or in my course I talk about doing 2 5,000 cards. So the flexibility is unbelievable. The possibilities are endless, and a lot of marketers will even just do these once in a while. You don't have to do them every month. Once in a while just to bring in new clients, new customers, keep things fresh. Maybe you want to go on vacation, you want to take that trip or whatever. side hoe, wherever they go, the Thailand or whatever, they get the girls or whatever who need that $5,000. You can probably do a lot. You could probably go wherever you want, $5,000 air flight. You could just put out a card and go on vacation, whatever you want to do. Buy the couch that you always wanted. I don't know, whatever you do with $5,000. Well, I can't tell you what you're going to do with $5,000. That's up to you. But I could just tell you how to do it. So I hope you do it. I hope you get a card out. And if you have any questions, email me. I hope I've answered everything. Go through this podcast as many times as you need. Buy the course. Go check out the course. I've got 5 installments. Okay, the course, my 9x12 mastery course has 5 installments. I mean, 5 different parts that detail every step in super detail. So if you're only interested or confused about one particular part, you can pick up individual parts and they're independent. Or you can get the whole thing at a discount and just get all 5 and go big boy and get all done and make that $5,000. That's what I want you to do.